It all started when my family skipped my baby shower. Why? Well, because my sister, Emily, had decided to throw a birthday party for her cat, Whisker. It was Whisker's first birthday. And I guess that was a big deal, big enough for my family to completely disregard the fact that I was pregnant with their first grandchild. My baby shower, I reminded them, trying to keep my voice steady. My first baby. They couldn't even show up for me. They were at the cat's party instead. To make matters worse, my mom's response was, "Duly noted." Like it was nothing. She said it with a tone so casual that it felt like she had just finished negotiating a parking ticket or something. "We'll make it up to you," she added. That's when I started to realize how deep the ridiculousness of this went. The next day, I got a notification. $2.50 had been charged to my card. My mom had tried to put it through, of course, without asking me. When I saw the charge, I froze. The charge wasn't for anything related to my baby or anything we needed for the nursery. It was for a pet photo shoot package for Whisker. I immediately froze everything account. Cards, you name it. I called my bank and blocked them all. When I had told my mom, she cried. My sister begged me to back off. And still, I didn't back down. I couldn't. "How could I?" "You're being dramatic, Jenna," my mom said. "Like I was the one causing trouble. It's just a baby shower. We'll make it up to you." And then, across the room, my sister Emily snapped. "Technically, a cat is not a child." She gasped in shock, as if I'd just insulted the queen herself. The thing is, I was hoping, still hoping, they'd see sense, I thought. Maybe they'd realize how ridiculous this whole thing was. Maybe they'd see the truth for once. But no, they doubled down. They scheduled an actual birthday party for Whisker, complete with hats, cakes, customized mocktails, and everything. All of this on the same day as my baby shower, the one I'd sent out invites for 3 months ago. And the worst part, they all went. Every single one of them. Even Aunt Carol, who once claimed she was allergic to cats and fake people. Even my mom. She posted a group selfie of the family, all wearing matching tiaras with Whisker, captioned, "Celebrating our littlest family member's first birthday. First babies are special, right?" But there was no mention of me or my pregnancy, or the fact that I was sitting in a tiny cafe with 3 friends and a half-eaten Costco cake, pretending I wasn't waiting for anyone else to show up. My heart sank. The next morning, I checked my phone. My card had been declined. I pulled up the statement. There it was, a $2.50 charge attempt for the Meow and Me pet photo shoot package. Guess who tried to put it through? Yep, my mom. When I called her, she sounded annoyed. "You always said you'd help with family stuff," she said. Like I was the one being unreasonable. "It's not like I'm buying a yacht." I said I'd help. I fired back. "But I didn't say I'd fund a cat's modeling career," she responded with, "Well, you've got that nice baby bonus, don't you? It's not like you're poor." I was done. I hung up, froze every account they had access to, changed all my passwords, called the bank, and blocked them. All of them. That night, my mom called 12 times. My sister texted, "You're being cruel. Whisker didn't do anything." And she was right, Whisker hadn't done anything. But I had. And they didn't know what was coming next. I was always the good one. The helper. The fixer. The responsible sister. The one who paid the deposit when Dad's credit was denied. The one who lent Mom $1.20 for a dental surgery that turned out to be Botox. The one who sent Emily $600 last Christmas when she said her car had broken down, only to find out it was for a tattoo of Whisker and a tiara. That cat had more ink than I did. And still, I showed up. Every birthday, every holiday, every emergency. I was family until I got pregnant. Then, suddenly, I was selfish, secretive, unfair, for not involving Emily more in the process. Apparently, she had always wanted to be an aunt, but she didn't want to show up for the baby shower. 2 weeks before the party, Emily sent me a video of Whisker walking across a table in a tiny pink tutu, surrounded by pastel balloons. She captioned it, "Can't wait for Whisker's big day. April 6th is going to be iconic." I stared at the screen. Stunned. April 6th. I texted her. "That's the day of my baby shower." "Right," she replied with 3 laughing emojis. "Oops. Totally spaced. But it's Whisker's first birthday. Jen. That only happens once." I called my mom. She sighed. "Jen, honey, don't start drama. Emily's going through a lot right now. What does that have to do with her cat's birthday taking priority over my baby shower?" Then, Mom dropped the bomb. "Whisker's her first baby, too." That was the moment I realized I was completely alone in this. But I didn't cancel the shower. No, I moved it. I rented a small venue, handled everything myself, and invited everyone again. I sent out reminders. Out of 47 invites, 6 people showed up. One of them was a lady from work I barely talked to. The rest, they were at the cat's party. I knew because they posted everything. My aunt filmed Whisker blowing out a candle on a cake that said, "1 year of perfection." My cousins were doing shots with Emily, all wearing cat auntie shirts. Even my grandma was there, holding a wine glass and wearing cat ears. Not a single one of them showed up for me. Not a gift. Not a card. Not even a message. But Whisker. Whisker got a Swarovski crystal collar. Let that sink in. I froze my card. Emily exploded. "You embarrassed Mom," she texted. "We were counting on that booking. It was a surprise for Whisker's birthday." I didn't reply right away. Instead, I thought about all the times I had been the one to show up for them. I had always been the one holding it together. The one who was expected to fix everything. To take the punches. To take the blame. And they just kept taking and taking. It was time to stop. And they never saw it coming. The next morning, I woke up to a notification that my credit score had dropped. Someone had tried to open a store card in my name. The shipping address was my parents' house. The audacity. It was sloppy, but enough to make me check all my accounts. That's when I saw it, the real gut punch. My emergency savings account, the one I had opened the month I found out I was pregnant, had been drained. There were weekly withdrawals scheduled from a PayPal account under the name Grace Whiscombe. I stared at the screen, my heart sinking as I realized what had been going on. Over $1.80 was already gone. I remembered the day Emily had borrowed my laptop to check Pinterest recipes. She'd set up the PayPal account herself. It had been subtle, small amounts here and there. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now, seeing it all laid out, it was clear. She'd been siphoning money from my account for months. I took screenshots. I flagged everything. I froze the account. And then, I did something I never thought I'd have to do. I posted a story of my own. It was a picture of my baby's ultrasound. The caption read, "This little one will grow up knowing love doesn't come with conditions, price tags, or matching tiaras." That night, Mom called me in tears. "Emily hasn't eaten," she said. As if this somehow made sense in the context of everything that had been going on. The financial stress is hurting her mental health. This baby shower drama has broken the family. And then she handed me an envelope. Inside was a printed invoice. Emily wanted reimbursement for the cat party venue, rental, cake decorations, everything. Total, $4.1, $207.65. I stared at the invoice. She wants me to pay her back for a cat birthday party. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, so I didn't either. I simply said, "She can sell Whisker's diamond collar." I handed my mom the envelope and walked her to the door. As she stood in the threshold, she turned to me. Eyes red, voice shaky. "You don't get to opt out of family, Jenna." I looked her dead in the eye. Then I guess I was never really in it. I slammed the door behind me and walked away. The next morning, I got a voicemail from Dad. He didn't say congratulations. He didn't ask how I was. He just told me, "You're hurting your mother. This baby's already turning you into someone cold. Be careful who you become." I didn't listen to the whole voicemail. I couldn't. But that was all I needed to hear. It was the same thing they always said when they were cornered: "You've changed. You're being cruel. You're the one breaking the family." But it wasn't me. It never was. They were the ones who had torn it all apart. Later that day, Emily posted a picture of Whisker in a baby stroller, captioned, "Still the only baby that matters." That was it. That was when I knew there was no turning back. They thought I would fold, that I would cry and come crawling back, but they didn't know who they were dealing with. What they didn't know was that I had something they didn't expect. I had evidence. I wasn't just talking about screenshots and PayPal transactions. No, I had audio recordings, dots, texts, emails, and a hard drive full of everything. They thought I would be silent. They thought I would be the one left scrambling, the one who would have to apologize for being unreasonable. They didn't know I was about to turn the volume up on everything. The restaurant we went to was too nice for what was about to happen. White tablecloths, jazz playing softly in the background, waiters in pressed shirts, refilling water glasses, pretending that nothing could possibly explode here. My mom had picked it. A French bistro in Midtown, somewhere neutral, she said. She wanted to heal. I booked the private back room. I wanted space. But what I really wanted was for the walls to echo when the truth hit. They walked in late. Mom was in a cream sweater, pearls fake but sparkling, as usual. Dad puffed up like he still thought he ran the room. Emily was the one who caught my attention, though oversized sunglasses indoors, even though it was cloudy. And that fake, innocent look on her face like she was about to cry on cue. None of them hugged me. None of them said congrats or asked about the baby. They just sat down like we were about to settle a bill. I let the silence stretch, and I waited. Then, finally, my mom opened her mouth. Jenna, I just want to say, things got out of hand. We never wanted this. But you've been cruel. Dad nodded in agreement. Blocking your own family, that's not you. I just stared at them, feeling my heart pound in my chest. You mean like using my card for $2.50 worth of Whisker content without asking? That kind of cruelty? Emily blinked. I already apologized for that. No, I said flatly. You didn't. You got caught. Before she could say anything else, my mom jumped in. We're here to move on, not to rehash mistakes. I pulled out my phone, tapped twice, and set it down on the table. One beep. A speaker turned on, and her voice filled the room. Emily. If Jenna knew how easy it was to pull money from her bank, she'd lose her mind. But she's too busy nesting to notice. The room froze. I didn't look at Emily. I watched my mom's face instead. It was pale, her eyes wide. Emily's face went from a faint flush to ghostly white. She gasped. I was venting, Emily said, her voice shaky. That was taken out of context. Context, I asked, raising an eyebrow. Here's more context. I tapped again. Emily. She's going to raise another broken human and expect applause. You know, she cried, because no one showed up to her baby thing. Like, sorry. Your baby isn't trending, girl. Mom's face was a mixture of shock and confusion. Dad looked at his hands, unable to meet my gaze. Emily was trembling. I leaned forward, keeping my voice calm. I wasn't planning to play this, but then Emily accused me of lying again. She opened her mouth to protest, but I held up my hand. No, you don't speak yet. I do. I reached into my bag and pulled out the hard drive. I set it down on the table like it was a final piece of evidence. Recognize this. Emily blinked, her face twitching. That's mine. I smiled coldly. Remember when you crashed at my apartment for a few days after the Vegas trip? You said your laptop was full and asked me to use mine. You set it up yourself. Dad nodded slowly, finally looking up. You accused Jenna of hacking your laptop. Remember? That I was scared of her. Check this, I said, hitting play on the projector I'd set up. I opened a folder titled Family. And, one by one, fake screenshots appeared photoshopped text messages from me to Emily with fake threats. Audio recordings of her voice, spliced together to make me sound aggressive. There was even a note titled, How to Make Jenna Look Irrational If She Turns on Me. I clicked once more. The screen lit up with PayPal statements, dots showing $1.84.7. 22 withdrawn from my account, under shared groceries. Emily's face twisted in disbelief. That's not what it looks like, she stammered. I clicked again. Showing an email from Emily to her friend Lexi. Whisker's birthday is going to bankrupt Jenna, and she won't even know until May. I let that hang in the air. That's when Dad stood up, his face red with anger. That's enough. But I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. I stood too. But I wasn't going to let this go. Not now. Not after everything they'd done. Oh, we're just getting started, I said. I turned to my mom. You tried to justify all of this by saying Emily was going through a lot. So let me ask you, what was she going through when she used my credit to buy herself a new iPad? Or when she called me unreasonable for getting pregnant alone? My mom looked down, unable to answer. There were no words left. Emily stood up now, her voice shrill. You're insane! You're ridiculous! You're tearing us down! That's not love! I looked at her, calm but resolute. I'm not trying to tear anyone down. I'm trying to stop you from climbing over me to stay afloat. I turned to my dad. You once said I was cold for cutting you off. Well, just know this the next time you tell people you have 2 daughters, you're lying. My dad nodded slowly. I could see it in his eyes. The reality was finally hitting him. I slid the hard drive back into my bag and grabbed my phone. I wasn't going to play nice anymore. I had to end this. That's when I nodded toward the door. Someone was coming, and that someone was Trevor, Emily's ex. The one she had painted as dangerous. The one who she claimed disappeared after doing something so awful. She could never name it. He walked in calmly, carrying a folder, and didn't look at Emily. He just handed it to my dad. Emily stepped back. What is he doing here? Trevor didn't speak to her. Instead, he looked straight at my dad. You told your family I hurt you. You told my job I was unstable. You posted my baby pictures and tagged them #the villain. I stayed silent as Trevor continued to speak. This was Emily's past catching up with her, and it was my time to let the truth out for once. When Trevor finished, Emily's face turned bright red. This is a setup, she screamed. This is harassment! But Trevor was unmoved. You told your family I hurt you. You told my job I was unstable. You posted my baby pictures and tagged them #the villain. I couldn't help but watch, feeling an almost grim satisfaction. Finally, the person Emily had always been to everyone else was showing itself to be the one who hurt so many of us. She burst into tears, real tears. Or maybe fake. Who knows? I just kept watching her unravel in front of me. And then, my mom finally broke the silence. This can't be real, she whispered. Her eyes were wide with disbelief. I turned to her, meeting her gaze with a steady look. You always said Emily needed protection. Maybe you were right. But you never asked who she needed protection from. I turned to my dad, who was flipping through the folder Trevor had given him. He paused, reading something. Then, he nodded, slowly. I didn't wait any longer. You once said I was cold for cutting you off. Well, just know this. The next time you tell people you have 2 daughters, you're lying. I looked at Emily. You've ruined so many things for everyone around you, and now you want to play the victim. No more. And then, I looked at Trevor and gave him a quick nod. Thanks for coming. He nodded back and left without a word. I turned to my parents one last time. Say hi to the cat, Emily, I said. As I headed for the door, you'll have plenty of time to bond. I didn't look back. This time, no one followed me. They thought that scene at the restaurant, the projector, the ex, the audio recordings, the hard drive was the grand finale. But it wasn't. It was just Act 1. They didn't know what was coming next. The weekend after the restaurant meeting, I filmed a video. It wasn't dramatic. No tears. No yelling. Just me, in my living room, with neutral lighting, my calm voice, and my baby's ultrasound in a frame behind me. A few months ago, my family skipped my baby shower to celebrate my sister's cat's birthday, I said, my voice steady. That was just the beginning. I walked the viewers through everything. The photoshopped threats, the stolen money, the spliced audio, the PayPal trail, Emily's ex-boyfriend's folder, all of it. No names, no faces, just facts, just evidence. At the end, I said, this video isn't for sympathy, it's a warning. Because some people will call it love while they're draining you dry. And they'll say you've changed when you stop letting them. I hit upload. Within 48 hours, it had 320.00 views. A week later, it crossed 1 million. The comments flooded in. My mom did the same to me. Thank you for speaking up. Skipped your baby shower for a cat. This isn't a family, it's a cult. Tag yourself. I'm Whisker. Then came the messages. Journalists, therapists, content creators all asking for collaborations. DMs filled with people's horror stories, asking for advice, begging me to tell more. I started a channel. No more favorite daughters. The first merch drop, a simple white hoodie with black text that read, "First babies matter, even human ones." It sold out in 4 hours. That's when my mom resurfaced. She posted a 4-paragraph Facebook status. "It's so sad when one lie destroys a lifetime of love. My daughter is very pregnant and very emotional. Pray for us." I didn't respond. Then Emily posted a TikTok, crying with a filter on, holding Whisker. The caption read, "Some sisters carry babies, some carry rage." The comments roasted her alive. The next day, I received a cease and desist letter. Typed in Word, no lawyer signature. The letter accused me of emotional slander and destruction of character. I posted it too. Captioned, "Apparently telling the truth is now illegal. Who knew? People lost it." The comments flooded in, emotional slander. "Tell Whisker to get a lawyer. If you get sued, blink twice. And we'll crowdfund your legal fees." The video hit 1 million views in 36 hours. I got 2 podcast invites, a brand deal from a maternity skincare company, and a handwritten note from a woman in Florida who wrote, "Your story helped me leave after 14 years of being that emergency contact, but never the invite. I'm out. Thank you." I cried over that one. Meanwhile, I was building my new apartment, 2-bedroom, sunny, real hardwood floors. A baby registry went public. Thousands of strangers sent gifts. One note said, "Your baby deserves a village. Since your family didn't show up, we did." And the best part, I turned the savings account Emily tried to drain into a scholarship fund for single, pregnant women starting over. The first grant, $1.8477, 22, the exact amount she'd stolen from me. I named it the Whisker Fund with the subheading, "Because first babies matter." Mom saw it. How do I know? Because she emailed me from a burner account. Subject line, "You've gone too far." The message simply read, "What happened to privacy and forgiveness?" I didn't reply. Then Emily sent a message too. "I was just hurt. That's why I said those things." "Whisker misses you," I replied. "Good. He's the only one I might forgive." Then I blocked her. 2 days later, a woman from the local paper reached out. They wanted to include my story in a piece on modern estrangement. I asked what the headline would be. She said, "When blood isn't family and the internet is." I said yes. The article came out a week later. Guess whose photo they used? Emily's, in a tiara, holding Whisker. It was a fair use public post. My mom called it a lie. My dad threatened to sue. I posted a screenshot of the article with the caption, "Still waiting on that lawsuit." In the meantime, baby bump update coming tomorrow? #first babies matter. I smiled. They couldn't stop it now. They started this story. I just finished it. I gave birth on a Tuesday. Quiet room, clean air, no drama. My best friend held my hand. The nurse cried before I did. When they placed him on my chest, my son, perfect out loud, alive, I exhaled everything. I didn't think about Emily, or my mom, or Whisker and his little crown. I thought about how good it felt not to owe anyone in that room a single thing. His name is Leo. Not after anyone. Not because of a family name or some forced tradition. Just because it felt strong. Fierce. Mine. I didn't tell anyone in my family, not even after I got home. Not after I posted a photo of Leo's little fingers wrapped around mine with the caption, "He's here, and we're safe." That post hit 200.00 likes in a day. Strangers from 5 continents sent messages. Someone crocheted him a blanket with little lions on it. Another sent a children's book called When the Village Finds You. I didn't cry until the 3rd night, not because I was overwhelmed, but because it was quiet. And I realized, for the first time in my life, I didn't owe anyone an explanation. Mom tried to come back. She sent a voice note. "I hope you remember that no matter what you say, blood is blood. You'll regret keeping us out." I didn't reply. I just forwarded it to the woman from the newspaper. They were doing a follow-up piece on estranged grandparents the other side of the coin. I figured they could use some fresh material. Then came the card. A physical envelope. No. Return address. Inside was a photo of Whisker wearing a big cousin bandana. Taped to it. He deserves a grandma. I laughed out loud. And then I put it in Leo's memory box under the label Clown Moments. The next week, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail. It was my dad. Look, I don't care what you think, but if that baby ever wants to know his grandfather, I'll be here. Then he added, just make sure he knows who helped build this family. I smiled. Opened my banking app. Took a screenshot of every single withdrawal I'd made for them over 5 years, every bill, every Venmo payment, every emergency. I posted it to my story with the caption, he'll know. Don't worry, he'll know exactly who built what. And then, I did one last thing. I changed my number. Not just changed it. I printed a little card with my new contact info and sent it to the few people who mattered. Under the number, a tagline, this number is no longer in service. Just like me, on Leo's 1-month milestone. I hung a little frame in his nursery. It doesn't say family or love or any of that Pinterest stuff. It says, you were wanted, you were chosen, you were born from fire, and you'll never be fuel for it. I did one more thing. I bought a domain to tell the story. People found it and they stayed on it. My video, a message, a grant application for single moms starting over, and a section called Pet Parties Don't Replace People. And right at the bottom, a photo of Whisker in his tiara. Caption, no cats were harmed in the making of this redemption arc, but a few egos were. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not bitter. I'm clean. They no longer get to name me, drain me, or frame me. They get nothing. No updates, no invitations, no access. They chose a cat over a child. So I chose peace over performance. And guess what? Leo slept through the night last night, and I did too.